I was encouraged to read a book a couple months ago called La Raza Cosmica, or The Cosmic Race, by a friend of mine that has actually played a very important role in helping me remain intellectually and ideologically honest with myself regarding many things that I believe religiously, intellectually, scientifically, and ethically. This person obviously makes decisions based on her own sense of right and wrong, which is innate and not based on external concepts, people trying to influence her externally. Her sense of right and wrong comes from within, which is greatly inspirational to me personally. Now, La Raza Cosmica was a book written by a gentleman named Jose Vasconcelos. Now, some of the concepts of La Raza Cosmica are blatantly stereotypical against Anglos and Anglos as in white Americans. But the concepts do coincide almost perfectly with mine on a Pan-American race or post-racial eugenics. The difference between my views and Jose Vasconcelos's is that Jose Vasconcelos uses a completely unscientific means of determining these things based on aesthetics. Now, both Jose Vasconcelos and I believe in what I've termed in a past video melting pot eugenics based on personal views of what one wants in one's offspring, thinking more like a prehistoric human and seeking out basically superior traits on an instinctual level, though I go further than Jose Vasconcelos in the sense that I support things like in vitro fertilization and pre-implantation selection of embryos to make sure that the next generation is superior to the current generation. I also support things like genetic engineering, genetic modification, and these sorts of things. However, one must consider that Jose Vasconcelos's ideas were in the early 20th century, whereas mine are in the early 21st century, meaning that the technology that I'm witnessing is far more advanced than the technology that Jose Vasconcelos witnessed. I see this as also a reason why, I do not consider myself a futurist. I consider myself a traditionalist that embraces technology. Now, the reason I see myself as a traditionalist is I support traditional values. However, I am not so foolhardy as to think that these traditional values need to be stuck in the past or that the human species must be stuck in the past. I do seek humanity reaching that next evolutionary state of being. And I do see technology as a means to provide what could be considered the Maslowian physiological needs, and to liberate the human species from menial labor, allowing there to be a choice between basically the development of the self or a choice to degrade oneself. Jose Vasconcelos shared some of my ideas on automation playing a role in the liberation of humanity, as opposed to the way that most people see automation as putting people out of work and things of that nature. In my opinion, and in his, automation will lead to people being able to obtain things like food, housing, stuff like that at a lower degree of menial output, meaning that people will be able to have things more readily. This is also, automation also makes socialism more, basically more attainable. One of the problems with socialism is that the resources are basically dependent upon the amount of labor, or at least this was the old way of looking. And one of the things that has held back socialism has been the concept that people are continually judged on their income and their work output. With automation, we will see new values develop, and these values will be based on what the individual contributes to society on other levels, on a cultural level and things of that nature. So the problem is there needs to be a complete shift in consciousness, a post-racial shift in consciousness, where people are judging people on their individual merit, and not necessarily getting rid of the biological concept. Now, this is also where I disagree with Vasconcelos. Vasconcelos takes an almost completely aesthetic outlook, meaning people should choose people based on aesthetic quality, where I take a functional outlook. I see good aesthetics to be the result of good form. I see aesthetics as the basically the visual component of good function. Now, and that's about all I have to say. I'm a little bit tired, so I'll call this video on account of me being tired.